Welcome back. This is how login is stored securely, hashing explained, a calm, clear coding tutorial. In this video, we're going to take our login system and actually store users. But before we do that, we need to make sure we do it safely. If we stored passwords as plain text, they would be exposed. So instead, we'll use hashing to store a secure version of the password. Let's walk through the full flow. Right now, we're not logged in. I'll start by creating a new account. I'll enter an email and password. When I submit this, the password is hashed and stored in the database. And now we're redirected back and we see welcome. Now let's try logging in. I'll enter the same email and password. The server looks up the user and compares the password to the stored hash. And since it matches, we're logged in. Now let's try the wrong password. This time, the comparison fails, and the login is rejected. The important part is we're not checking the password directly. We're comparing it to the stored hash. Next, we'll break down exactly how that works. Let's break down what just happened. When we signed up, the password was sent to the server. Before storing the password, the server hashed the password. That hash, not the original password, was stored in the database. And when we logged in, the server compared the password we entered to that stored hash. If we stored passwords exactly as users typed them, they would be in plain text. That means anyone with access to the database could read them. And if the database was ever exposed, all user passwords would be exposed too. That's why we never store passwords directly. Instead, we store a hash. A hash is a one-way transformation of the password. That means you can't take the hash and turn it back into the original password. The same password will always produce the same kind of hash, but it can't be reversed. So even if someone gets access to the database, they don't get the actual passwords. Now let's look at how we do this in code. Here's what this looks like in the code. When a user signs up, we take the password they entered and hash it using bcrypt. Then we store that hash in the database instead of the original password. We're storing this in a users table with an email and a password hash. We're not focusing on the SQL setup here, just the idea that we're saving the hashed password. Now the password is stored securely. Pause here if you want to look through this code. Now let's look at what happens during login. When a user logs in, we look up their record in the database using their email. That gives us the stored password hash. Then we compare the password they entered to that hash using bcrypt. If the password matches the hash, the login succeeds. If it doesn't, the login is rejected. We're not checking the password directly. We're comparing it to the stored hash. And that's how we verify a password without ever storing it. Pause here if you want to look through this comparison. So now we're storing passwords securely and checking them safely. Now that we're storing passwords securely, the next step is keeping users logged in. Right now we're using a URL parameter, but that's just for learning. In the next video, we'll have the web app remember who the user is using cookies instead of a URL parameter. And that's what turns this into a real authentication system. If this kind of direct autism-friendly tutorial is helpful, subscribing is a great way to find your way back here. Thank you for watching, and let's keep learning and growing together. If you'd like to support what I'm building here, I do have a couple of products available on Patreon. There are affirmations to support your coding journey, and an AutistiCoder reference guide to help you learn. You'll find my store at patreon.com/AutistiCoder. Thank you in advance for your support.